You know, our planet isn't just some giant rock hurtling through space. It's alive. It's a living, breathing, constantly changing world, full of incredible power and beauty. And the science that helps us understand it all, well, it's just as fascinating. So let's dive in.
All right, just a quick heads up. This is part 11 of a 20-part series on an introduction to Earth sciences for everyone.
And that series comes to us from Virtualization Options LLC, a technology research and education organization based out of Colorado.
I mean, have you ever felt the ground shake just a little bit? Or watched a huge storm roll in? Or even just looked at a massive mountain range and thought, how in the world did that get there? Well, those are exactly the kinds of questions we're digging into today. Okay, so to get our heads around this, we're going to start with the big picture, seeing our planet as one giant, interconnected system that's always in motion. So, the science that wraps all of this up? It's called Earth science. And believe me, it is so much more than just looking at rocks. We're talking about everything, from the deepest parts of the ocean to the very top of the atmosphere, exploring all the materials, processes, and the incredible history of our planet. So a really key idea here is to think of the Earth as being made up of four interconnected spheres. You've got the geosphere, that's all the solid stuff, the rocks and land. The hydrosphere, yep, all the water. The atmosphere, the air we're breathing right now. And the biosphere, that's us, and all other life. The crazy part is, they're all constantly talking to each other. You push one, and the others are going to feel it. Right? But what's making all this happen? What's the engine driving this whole incredible planetary dance? Well, let's pop the hood and take a look. Okay, so the secret is deep, deep down. Seriously, the Earth's interior is layered just like an onion. We're living on the crust, which is super, super thin, like thinner than the onion's skin, relatively speaking. Underneath that, you've got the mantle. Now, this is wild. It's solid rock, but it flows, kind of like super thick honey over millions of years. And then way down in the center, there's a liquid outer core. The movement of that liquid metal is what creates our magnetic field, which is basically a giant force field protecting us from nasty solar radiation. That incredible heat from the core, that's the engine. So here's a fantastic way to picture this. Think of the Earth's surface, not as one solid piece, but as a giant jigsaw puzzle. And all these enormous puzzle pieces are just floating around on top of that churning, hot mantle we were just talking about. And this amazing idea has a name: plate tectonics. Honestly, this is the big one in Earth science. It's the grand unifying theory that suddenly made everything make sense. It explained why continents like Africa and South America look like they should just slot together. It explained how massive mountains are born. And these giant plates, they are always moving, slowly but surely, at about the same speed your fingernails grow. Kind of mind-blowing, right? So if these plates are always moving, what happens when they bump into each other? Well, basically three things can happen. They can pull apart from each other, and when they do, new crust is born from magma rising up from below, usually on the ocean floor. They can collide head-on. Sometimes one plate dives under the other, and other times they both just crumple up, creating absolutely massive mountain ranges like the Himalayas. Or they can just slide right past each other. This is where you get a ton of friction and stress building up, and when that stress finally lets go, boom, you get an earthquake. All right, so this massive planetary engine at work, it creates some pretty spectacular stuff up here on the surface. Let's talk about two of the most powerful and, well, awe-inspiring results: fire and water. Okay, so when those plates are moving around, pulling apart, or one sliding under another, you're basically opening up cracks in the Earth's crust, and that gives magma from the mantle a chance to escape to the surface. And the result? You guessed it, volcanoes. What's cool is that the type of volcano you get totally depends on the magma. If it's runny and fluid, you get these broad, gentle shield volcanoes like the ones in Hawaii. But if the magma is thick and sticky and full of gas, look out. That's when you get the classic, steep-sided explosive volcanoes like Mount Fuji. Okay, now let's switch gears from fire to water. We call Earth the blue planet, right? And when you look at it from space, it makes total sense. But here's a fact that might just blow your mind. A staggering 97.5% of all that water is salt water. Only a tiny, tiny fraction, just 2.5%, is fresh water. But wait, it gets even crazier. Let's take that little sliver of fresh water, that 2.5%, and put it under a microscope. Of that water, almost 70% is frozen solid in glaciers and ice caps. Another 30% is hidden deep underground. So you know all the rivers and lakes, all the surface water we actually use every day? That makes up just about 1% of that original 2.5%. When you do the math, wow, accessible freshwater is just incredibly rare.
So, with water being so precious, how does it get moved around? Well, it's all thanks to the water cycle. It's this beautiful, continuous loop. The sun's energy evaporates water, it rises up and forms clouds, it falls back down as rain or snow, and then it collects in rivers and lakes, ready to start the whole journey over again. It's basically Earth's ultimate recycling program, and it never stops.
Okay, so plates are moving, volcanoes are erupting, water is cycling all around us. It's all fascinating stuff, for sure. But what's the bottom line? Why does any of this actually matter to you and me? Well, for one thing, it helps us nail down the huge difference between weather and climate. Two words people mix up all the time. Think of it this way. Weather is what's happening outside your window right now. Is it raining? Is it sunny? That's weather. Climate, on the other hand, is the long-term pattern. It's what you'd expect for this time of year in your region. I love the old saying, climate is what you expect, weather is what you get. It perfectly captures it. And knowing that difference, knowing how our planet works, is absolutely critical. Why do we study this stuff? Well, it helps us try to predict and prepare for natural disasters, like earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. It helps us find and manage the resources we all depend on, like clean water and minerals. And, maybe most importantly right now, it's essential for understanding and responding to the changes happening to our planet's climate.
And this brings us to one of the most important stories our planet is telling us right now. When scientists look back at the long-term climate record, we're talking hundreds of thousands of years, they see natural cycles of warming and cooling. But when you look at the temperature data for our modern era, you see something different. You see this incredibly sharp, steep rise that is happening way faster than the natural cycles we see in the geological record.
You know, the ground beneath our feet, the air that we breathe, the water that gives us life, it's all part of this incredible, dynamic story that's been unfolding for billions of years. The planet is always talking to us, telling its story in the language of rocks and waves and weather. The real question is, are we listening?